Pez fans, thanks for tuning in. We are here to talk once again about what's cool at the Tour of America's Dairyland. Joining us today, live via Skype in studio, is fantastic American racer and often referred to, or before referred to as a raisin in milk, Rahsaan Bahati. Rahsaan, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about what's cool at the Tour of America's Dairyland.
Hey, PezCyclingNews, thanks for having me.
Over to you.
Thanks for having me. No, it's all good. Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Dairyland, yeah. It's been a race that I've loved over the last almost, I guess, a decade now. Is it 10 years they're celebrating?
It's the 10th anniversary this year of Tour of America's Dairyland. Tell us a little bit about your history with the race, when you started, what was it like back in the early days?
At that time, I was still racing at a high level, so it was fun to be there. When you're not racing well, it's never fun to be racing like 8, 9, 10 days in a row. But when you're still flying and able to deliver some results, it's always fun. And one thing that I liked the most was that I won in Grafton, and Grafton kind of became like my hometown race. Everyone loved me in Grafton. It's no secret I stand out in a race. And so, like, when you're a spectator, you don't really know exactly what you're watching, but you see like 100 plus people, going through the streets of Grafton at 30 plus miles an hour, and all of a sudden the only black guy wins. You're like, all right, he's my hero. So I had a lot of that.
So in terms of the racing, the level of racing, what are some of the best aspects of this from a racer's perspective?
Hands down, you get 9, 10 days of racing straight. I mean, I think I've done it some days. I mean, some years when it was 11 days, and it was coupled with, a few days of road racing and stuff like that. You can't get that anywhere. One of the biggest races in California, besides Tour of California, is the Redlands Classic. And it's back to 7 days now, and even that's hard to pull off.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that they're able to continue to have this event for 10 years. With the Tour of America's Dairyland, and have multiple days for multiple categories for 10 years. I mean, it's a huge feat. And I know for cyclists that just show up and race, they have no idea how hard it is. I've promoted some events in one single location. To pull it off in, 9, 10, 11 different cities throughout Wisconsin it's amazing, and definitely hats off to the crew.
I've been talking to racers like KATIE COMPTON and Tom Schuler about the history of the event and what it sort of offers for racers. One of the things that keeps coming up is the fun atmosphere and sort of the crowds that sort of turn this into an event that's pretty competitive, but at the same time very sort of laid back. There's a laid back aspect to it, right?
It's competitive, no doubt. I mean, people want to win those Cal jerseys. People want to win the overall jerseys. Yeah, and at the end of the day, I know towards last year, the year before, my whole goal was to win a Cal jersey. It's like I've never been to Toad without bringing home a jersey, and it was the first year, so that just goes to show you the competition is always there. It's not a walk in the park. It's a huge undertaking, but it is friendly. I mean, they hire some of the most amazing people in the sport, from the announcers that they make you feel like you're in the Tour de France, and you're just not another guy out there racing, and that's for all categories. I've known Tom was the second guy to give me a pro contract when he was running Saturn, so to see him in another element, still being a businessman, giving back, this guy is popping the what do you call them? The zip ties on the fences and cleaning up, and it just goes to show you that it's a group that's down to earth. They're definitely not there for themselves. They're there for the community. They're there for the cycling community, and it shows because they've been around for a decade now.
Yeah, and a lot of people will sort of count this in as a holiday break. It's kind of let's take some time, let's take the family, and let's go to the Heartland of America and race our bikes and have a cold one afterwards.
It's some cool cities in Wisconsin. I was just having a conversation with my colleague today at work, and he was talking about Kenosha, and I said that was the first place I ever raced, Kenosha Velodrome. It was like my first big race. I was 12 or 13 years old, so just all of Wisconsin has a lot of memories and history for me. So I love going. I love going and doing Dairyland.
That's cool. Is there a racing moment from Toad that stands out for you?
Oh, yeah. You don't even have to continue.
What is it, man?
Downer Avenue, for those of you not familiar, it's in a very historic area of Milwaukee, and the crowds are huge. The community gets involved. Everyone's barbecuing, and the bars are having all these specials, and it's just a good vibe all day long. However, right off the finish line, there's a Super Preme, or Crowd Preme, however you want to call it. And to win that is huge. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of people waiting at this unofficial finish line for this Preme. And I've won it 3 or 4 times, I believe. But this one particular time, it was a race between some of the fastest guys in the country at the time. I believe it was 2008. And it was like Dave McCook. It was, oh my goodness, who else was there? Jonathan Cantwell. Let's just call us 3, myself and someone else.
Some fast boys.
First corner,
yeah,
to go for that Preme, and I knew if I made it through the first corner, first or second, I had a good chance to win it. But it was so hard to get to that corner. We were going so fast, and I came out just underneath McCook, and I took the win, and I won. I think it was like $7,500 cash.
Whoa!
And I remember putting my hands up, and I didn't take another pedal stroke. I coasted all the way. Just around another lap, high-fiving everyone. One thing that I would say about Toad, and I think it's just the environment that I'm accustomed to racing in, is that when we're in the race, all bets are off. I mean, we're fierce competitors, but the atmosphere, the people who are watching the race, yes, they're excited about the person who won, but they're just in awe that you can go around, 6 city blocks at 20 miles an hour for an hour and a half. So, yeah, that person is up on the podium getting the flowers and the chocolate milk and everything. But everyone else is they're just stoked for you that you're able to do it, and just compete.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps the morale high for the entirety of the event. Because after, if you're in it and you're going for the wins, after 4 or 5 days, I mean, it gets hard, The legs are a little tired, and then you get fresh guys coming in. That makes it even more tough on you. And so that just brings me to another memory at Waukesha. I'm in the yellow jersey, and I'm by myself. This is 2011. Never forget this. By myself, and Flyvee Australia was there. I bring up Jonathan Cantwell again. He had a full team. Some of the guys that raced for that team now race in the Pro Tour. And they were just attacking me. And it got down to the end, and I won. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. It was me against the world, basically. And I won. And I just remember being so excited that I'd overcome this huge hurdle at one of the toughest courses in Dairyland. And to do it against a team that was pretty much dominant, that was probably a better memory than Downer Ave, actually.
Yeah. What would you say to racers who are thinking about coming to Toad or going to Toad and making it part of their schedule or part of their holiday, but maybe haven't pulled the trigger yet?
I think once you do it once, you for sure want to go back, Like I said, we talked about the atmosphere. We talked about the Midwest Heartland. It's so many things to do. Food is good. Accommodations are great. And to be honest with you, it's not that expensive to be there, especially when you're coming from, like if you're coming from Florida, New York, California, where things are a lot more expensive. And again, these guys put on a top-notch event. If you haven't pulled the trigger, I suggest you do it. And if you can't go for the whole thing, pick 4 or 5 days, that you can go and experience what racing Toad is like. I think you would have a good time.
Yeah.
And be, forever impressed.
And you can easily do that because of the omnium style of the race. You don't need to race every stage. You can pick and choose your stages and let it race. I'm
so happy as an omnium because I don't think I've ever done every single race. I've always just listened to my body. If I was feeling like the night before I barely got through it, I would take a day off, go ride along, by the lake and grab me some coffee at Altera, if they're even Altera anymore. I think they changed their name. But yeah, it's a beautiful place to hang out in the summer.
Awesome. Okay. Rahsaan, thank you so much for joining us and talking a little bit about Tour of America's Dairyland. That's going to be it's going to be an awesome event. Looking forward to seeing it come up. We're going to be having some coverage here on Pez.
Awesome.
Hopefully you can tune in because you won't be at the race this year, but hopefully you'll be able to tune in on Pez and keep up with the race.
Yeah, I'll definitely check in. There is a slight possibility I could make it for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be racing Race Across America, which conflicts with Dairyland, but yeah, definitely gonna miss it. So to all those fans out there that love seeing me there, I apologize, but if I have any energy to make it down there after I reach Annapolis, Maryland, I would definitely make it. There is a slim possibility, so don't count me out.
All right. Okay, good. You heard it here first on Pez.
Funny, Dairyland is about cheese and milk, and I coined the phrase a long time ago when someone asked me, this is in an interview, a long time ago, I was a junior. I said, I feel like a raisin in milk.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, that's a good one. We can use that. A raisin in milk.